that it's pulling out of the Black Sea grain agreement, the deal that allowed Ukraine to export its grain despite Russia's naval blockade. And we have hearing there that the decision could have wide-ranging effects on the global food market. We're joined by Deutsche Welle correspondent Emily Schultheis now. Emily, what was the agreement and why did Russia leave?
Sure. So as you mentioned, this is an agreement that focused on allowing Ukraine, which is a major grain, wheat and corn exporter, to continue to get those exports out to the rest of the world in safety despite the Russian invasion. And so this is an agreement that was put into place shortly after the invasion last year. During that time, a huge amount of Ukrainian grain exports have been able to leave the country and make it to elsewhere around the world. And it's an agreement that has been extended several times since that invasion. However, what we saw this week is that Russia allowed the agreement to lapse and did not agree to another extension of it. And the reasons that Russia has listed thus far, at least publicly, are that there were various agreements or various concessions that they wanted in terms of Russian exports, in terms of making things easier for some of their agricultural and fertilizer exports that have not yet been met. But it is something where international observers look at the fact that a major bridge to the Crimean Peninsula was attacked this week and wonder about sort of the timing of all of this happening all at once.
How are European leaders reacting to the news?
European leaders have absolutely criticized Putin, basically saying that he is okay with people going hungry as a result of the war and as a result of this agreement. And so you've really seen a lot of harsh criticism coming out of most corners of Europe. You see from Turkey, which is one of the destinations. So when you cross the Black Sea, a lot of these things are ending up then in Istanbul and going on to the rest of the world. The Turkish leader, Erdogan, has said that he hopes that Putin will come back to the table and will approve this agreement, but that has yet to be seen.
And what impact could it have on the rest of the world?
Well, Ukraine is a huge exporter of grain, particularly wheat and corn, and there are about 400 million people around the world who depend on these grain exports in order to get sources of food. And so what you can see is two potential impacts. On the one hand, this means that a lot less of that grain is making it to other parts of the world, particularly developing countries that rely on it. And the other issue is that if that's what's happening, then you're going to see prices start to rise. And so there are a lot of world leaders and countries around the world that are concerned, first of all, that there will just be less supply coming to them, and second of all, that it means that what they are getting is going to cause huge increases in food prices. And so when we think about food security, this was one of the major concerns in the aftermath of Russia's invasion last year. And at the moment, or up until this point, the agreement was sort of helping to keep those things from coming to pass. But with the agreement lapsing, that's a real concern now.
Deutsche Welle correspondent Emily Schultheis, thank you. Here are the top stories on ABC News. The Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, has defended